All right, so it's morning time. Getting ready to go to my friend's house and install the lift kit. But while we're here, I noticed it rained last night a little bit. It's like the Jeep gods wanted me to do this lift kit today. So the moment I'm getting ready to head over there, it stopped raining. But while we're here, let's see how the Ace Engineering bed rack did with the rain, since it's supposed to be like water sealed for the most part. I'm gonna tell you right now, you can't really see because of the lighting, but it's dry in the bed right now. So I don't know how badly it rained, but as of right now, you can see the upper decker itself is wet, but inside the bed, it's dry. It's gonna be so far so good. So let's get everything loaded up. So now is a good time to take out a tape measure, and you're gonna measure from the ground to the bottom of your fender on both sides of the vehicle and the front and the back, so that you can see your measurement, and then you're gonna do the same thing at the end of the installation to see the overall height that you achieve with the lift. All right, so just got in. About to go ahead and get started on this lift kit. So let's watch it. We're gonna lift up the back and do the back first. I'm about to take the tires off and start getting that stuff worked out. So let's make it happen. All right, so we raised the vehicle up, disconnected the track bar at one location on the axle. Now we're moving the end links. The instruction did say to remove these 3 bolts to gain access to the upper shock bolts, but I don't think we need to remove them. We should be able to move it out of the way relatively easily to get those bolts, so we're not gonna worry about that. So we're moving the end links, then we're gonna lower the axle down, remove the spring and shocks, and install the new ones. No.
So we need to come off top too?
Yep. So the removal of the shocks isn't really in the center of the frame, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Just remove the nuts, bolts, and washers that's holding it in place, and again, keep that hardware because you will be reusing it when you install the new shocks. So right now, trying to get the spring in. It's just that it's a little bit too long, and don't feel like disconnecting any of these stuff, so we're just gonna force it in there, of course. Be careful when you're installing the rear springs because they're long and the brake line gets a little tight on the axle. So you can either compress them or remove the lower control arm and the upper control arm to get a little bit more space as necessary. Further up top, it's gonna have an isolating pin or nipple on the top that has to fit inside the perch. So make sure you rotate that and get that fitted perfectly. After this is seated, then you start installing your end links. And the instruction says set it to 11 3/4 of an inch center to center. So right now we have that set up and we're getting ready to install the shocks. Hook this up and then we should be able to raise the axle back in place and finish installing the end links, and we should be good for the rear. We just got to reinstall this track bar afterwards. All right, so got the L-links nice and tightened up. Just torque down the shocks. The key that Jody brought up, my buddy that's camera shy, brought up is to have it started right here with the strap still on. So the strap right here that keeps it compressed, have that still on and have it started right here. Then with everything jacked up, with your end links connected and everything, you then cut that strap. And as you cut the strap, the spring is gonna slowly expand, but it gives you just enough time for you to go ahead and move it as it's expanded into this bolt hole right here, and then line it up. If you pass that bolt hole, then you're just gonna have to work on getting it retracted and everything else or get it collapsed to get it back in that hole, but it moves relatively slow. So if I can do it, you can do it too. So now we're installing the bump stop. So this little bracket right here, one on both sides, is getting installed on the axle right here. And the instructions say with the slant faced forward. So there's, I guess, there's like a cut on the front of it. So the top side right here is kind of has a slant compared to the bottom. So that part is going to face forward. And then you install these hardware right here, torque to 20 foot-pounds. So we're going to do that right now. And we should be pretty much finished with the back. We just got installed that rear track bar, and we'll be good to go. For the rear track bar, if you were only removed one side, we went ahead and removed both. It really wasn't needed, but just go ahead and remove the one side right here, or when you go to reinstall it, install it into the original spot, and you're going to torque this down with the original hardware to 110 foot-pounds. So the back is finished. Ooh, you see that rake? I might leave it like this. I kind of like that. Maybe I can sell the front. We want a set of front JKS lift kit suspension systems, or kit, or parts. It don't look that lifted to me right now, but maybe once we do the front, it'll change it. Almost look the same. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. We'll see. Okay, so update on what we've been doing. Got the tires removed, the vehicle's on the jack stands. Went ahead and disconnect the brake line, as well as your front axle disconnect. Right here, you want to make sure that's disconnected as well. Brake line is disconnected from the frame, as well as we already went ahead and removed the lower control arm, because I am replacing that with the one I bought from JKS. Got the end links disconnected on both sides as well, and we went ahead and removed the track bar. So track bar, brake lines, end links, lower control arms removed, shocks are also removed, and now we're getting ready to lower the axle so that we can go ahead and remove the springs and start getting everything installed. Now don't forget that right here on this bracket, on this side right here, this is gonna get cut off. All right, so that's the fun part. So we're about to do that. So again, coming in at about this line right here. All right, so update on where we're at with the Gladiator. Got the springs in. That was too easy to install. We pretty much removed we removed the lower control arms, so it was able to drop all the way down. Getting these springs in wasn't really a problem at all. The axle did shift a little bit, so we had to put a pry bar in there and turn it back because the spring started to perch, or it's not perch, but started to bow when we started rising up the axle. So we just bend the axle to straighten it out. Loosely installed these shocks right now. Spring is installed. Torque down the bolt that's securing the bump stop to 25 foot-pounds. Right now, not really an issue, but just note that as far as JKS go with their lower control arm, there isn't a bracket for this brake line. So either we just remove the brake line bracket or zip tie it or something. I don't know. Okay, so now with the end links being installed, it's going to be the same for the driver and the passenger side. You're going to adjust this so that it's 9 inches from center to center. And then go ahead and tighten down your jam nut. Adjustments can be made once it's on the ground. Then you're going to take the long, skinny bushing and slide it in up top. This is going to be the top portion. I try to keep my Zerks fitting facing forward so I can grease it later on. So after you get this in, polyurethane spacer like so. Then you go ahead and put in the provided long bolt and washer in like that, and then it's going to mount against the sway bar, and then you're going to put the washer and nut on the back and just loosely tighten it down. So now you're going to have these two posts. You have a short one and a long one. The short one is going to go on the passenger side where we cut that bracket, and the long one is going to go on the driver's side. So I'll show you how the short one goes in. It's just going to be the post and the nut. Try to keep this parallel with the ground.
Tighten it once you get it together.
So right now it's still loose.
No washers on these?
And as you can see, Jody's doing the same thing on the opposite side. Does the same thing about washers.
It seems weird. Alright, so when we raise it or lower it down, it'll line up.
Yep. So tighten down that post, you want to put like a punch in that hole to keep it leveled for your quick disconnect links. Boom, just like that. Then you're gonna have this bracket. You're gonna have one on the driver's side and on the passenger side, and it sits on the spring perch. Again, this is pretty much similar to an install video I did earlier on when I had my JL. But it's gonna sit like that so that when you go out to the trails, you can go ahead and disconnect your end links and post mount them right here. And it comes with the hardware, the nut, bolt, and the washers. Okay, so the end is in sight. All right, so focusing on the passenger, driver's side got the same treatment. Torqued everything, everything's torqued down. Got the end links installed, real simple. As you can see, you want that parallel so that the release pin is parallel with the ground. Also, we do have to grease these Zerks fittings, so I got to do that too. And we got to tighten down the jam nuts for the end link as well. So now we're about to put the tire on, and we're going to adjust the track bar as necessary to get it centered, And then I'm gonna look at the toe of the vehicle to make sure that's all good. It's the first time I'm ever messing with toe. So we're gonna see, it looks simple on YouTube. So we're gonna try it, see if it works. And we should be getting ready to wrap it up. So when installing the track bar, you want your initial measurement from end of the lollipop to the end of the lollipop right here to be 34 inches initially. And then as you lower the vehicle down and you drop it, then you're gonna make your adjustment with somebody keeping the wheels straight inside the vehicle with the steering wheel. You make your final adjustments as necessary. Then you're gonna tighten down this jam nut so that it stays in place. You wanna make sure that the adjustable part of the track bar is attached to the axle, and the non-adjustable part is gonna be attached to the frame. With this part, this curved part, clearly it matches the profile of the pumpkin. So that's how you want it to face, with the JKS sticker facing forward. You're gonna wanna torque down these bolts with the original hardware from your original track bar to 115 foot-pounds for both the part attaching to the frame and the part attaching to your axle. All right, so that's it. Just did the alignment. Again, it's my first time doing one, so I don't know how it is. Just drove it down the road and it seemed fine. So again, there's a Way of Life. I'm sure you know about him. If you're watching my video, you know about Way of Life. He has a video that explains it all, and I guess it was pretty self-explanatory. My steering wheel was off by a little bit when I was driving straight. It was turned a little bit that way, so I adjusted that. Again, the Way of Life video shows how to do that. So right now, everything's pretty much done. Driving down the block real quick, it felt pretty good. I'm excited, and I can tell that I'm in a lifted Jeep. Like, I was hopping in the seat and I had to hop up a little bit to get in there. So it's lifted. I'm ready for Uwharrie this weekend. I'm gonna install the rooftop tent probably tomorrow or Thursday to get ready for this camping trip. And a big shout out, I'll block his face because I don't want him to think the camera's stealing his soul. I'm doing a horrible job blocking his face. Big shout out to Jody. Big shout out to him. I love the way it looks. It looks nice and aggressive. It got the 35s on there. I was worried the 35s was gonna look small, but to me, they actually look okay. They actually look okay. Of course, I'm gonna go 37s when it's time to go 37s, but right now the 35s is good. So I'm gonna keep riding it out. I'll tell you what I think, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video and leave your comments. JKS lift kit went on pretty without a hitch for the most part. So again, thanks for watching. Sketchy Jeep on Instagram, YouTube. Follow me there, and y'all take it easy. All right, so again, with the alignment of the vehicle, I didn't feel comfortable showing it to y'all because this was my first time I was doing it, and I didn't want you referencing my video because it seemed a little sketch and whatnot. So I wanted you to watch the Way of Life video instead. He goes into way more detail, and he actually has a professional there that's helping him, so that knows what he's talking about. So watch that video instead. But other than that, I'm glad it went on. I think it looks really good. Getting ready for that trip to Uwharrie. Actually, the trip already happened and it was awesome. So make sure you stay tuned for that trip. I'm editing it right now. It's in the pipeline. So y'all take it easy and check out these B-rolls.